Ladies and gentlemen, there is something powerful about a person who's been through the fire and still smells like victory. It's one thing to survive, it's another thing to return. See, the enemy loves it when you get knocked down because he thinks you'll stay there. But the moment you rise, bruised, limping, and still determined, you become dangerous. Not because you're perfect, but because you've been through hell and found out you're still here. I know what it's like to cry yourself to sleep, to pray with no answers, to walk into rooms smiling while inside you're breaking. But I also know this. God has a habit of turning broken people into bold testimonies. He takes what was meant to bury you and uses it to plant you. Some of you have been in a season where you thought it was over. You thought the divorce was the end. You thought the failure was final. You thought the betrayal was too deep to recover from. But what you didn't see was that while you were bleeding, God was building. While you were falling apart, He was fitting the pieces together for something you couldn't imagine. Let me tell you this, the real victory is not just in winning the fight. It's in walking back to the battlefield to lift someone else up. Because a victor who disappears helps no one, but a victor who returns, that's someone who changes generations. What broke you can be the same thing that builds you. It sounds almost impossible when you're in the middle of it, doesn't it? Because when pain is fresh, it doesn't feel like a lesson. It feels like punishment. When you're sitting in the middle of the wreckage of your life, looking at the pieces you can't put back together, it's hard to believe anything good could come from it. But I'm telling you, the very thing that tried to destroy you can become the foundation for the strongest version of you. Think about it. Construction always begins with disruption. A building can't go up unless the ground is broken first. There has to be a tearing, a digging, a breaking of the surface before the structure can rise. And that's how life works. The heartbreak you went through, that breakup, that betrayal, that disappointment, it broke the surface of your soul, but it also made room for something new to be built there. The loss you experienced didn't just take something away, it created a deeper space inside you where compassion, resilience, and wisdom could grow. The truth is, pain is one of life's most effective teachers. We resist it, we run from it, we try to numb it, but pain has a way of leaving imprints that shape us for the better. When you've been broken, you understand humility in a way pride could never teach you. You understand empathy in a way comfort could never show you. You learn patience in a way instant gratification could never offer. The very moment you thought would be your undoing becomes the exact chapter that prepares you for what's next. It's like a seed. Before it grows into anything beautiful, it has to be buried and broken open. On the surface, it looks like the end. It's covered in dirt, hidden from the light, and split apart. But that breaking isn't the end, it's the beginning. The seed can't fulfill its purpose until it's been broken. And you too might have had to be broken open for your purpose to come alive. I know it's tempting to try to erase the memory of the pain, to pretend it never happened, to move forward without looking back. But what if the thing that broke you is actually the thing God is going to use to give you influence, to give you depth, to give you a voice that reaches people no one else can touch? Because here's the thing, people don't connect with perfection, they connect with honesty. And your scars are proof that healing is possible. When you look at people who have truly made an impact, almost all of them have one thing in common. They've been through something. They've faced loss. They've been betrayed. They've been told you'll never make it. And they've walked through seasons where quitting seemed easier than holding on. But those seasons became the training ground. The breaking became the building. What was meant to weaken them made them stronger. And that's the same story you're in right now. You might not see it yet, but your pain is laying bricks for a platform you'll one day stand on to help others. The very storm that knocked you to your knees is the same storm that's anchoring your roots deeper. One day, you'll look back and realize that without the breaking, you wouldn't have the wisdom, the strength, or the faith you carry now. So don't despise what broke you. Don't curse the season that hurt you. It wasn't sent to end you. It was sent to build you. And when you rise from it, you won't just be stronger, you'll be unshakable. What broke you can be the same thing that builds you. It may sound contradictory, even cruel, when you're in the middle of your deepest pain. When you're staring at the shattered pieces of your life, wondering how it all fell apart. The idea that this could be the very thing that strengthens you feels almost insulting. But it's true. Life has a strange way of using the very blows that knock you down to shape the strongest version of you. Think about it. Before anything can be built up, there is usually a breaking down. Before a field can bear fruit, the ground has to be plowed and disrupted. The soil has to be torn open to make space for seeds. In the same way, your life sometimes has to go through disruption for something greater to grow. That heartbreak, that loss, that failure, it didn't just crush you, it cleared the ground for something new. It created a depth in you that couldn't have existed without the breaking. The pain you've been through is not wasted. Pain is one of the most powerful teachers you will ever encounter. It teaches lessons that comfort could never teach. It shapes character in ways success never will. It builds empathy in you that you could never learn from a textbook or a motivational quote. When you've walked through the valley, you understand other people's valleys in a way you never could from the mountaintop. When you've been broken, you have a tenderness toward others who are hurting. You can spot silent pain because you've carried it yourself. And while it may feel like you've been buried, maybe you've actually been planted. Seeds are buried too. They're placed in darkness, hidden away, surrounded by dirt. At first glance, it looks like an ending. But what's really happening is transformation. The seed has to break open for new life to emerge. Without that breaking, there is no growth, no fruit, no future. Your breaking might be the very thing God is using to awaken what's inside you, to push you toward the purpose you were created for. The enemy wants you to believe that the breaking is a sign you're finished. He wants you to stay down, to give up, to declare that it's over. But in reality, your breaking might be the foundation for your building. Every scar you carry is proof that you've survived something that should have destroyed you. Those scars aren't signs of weakness. They're blueprints of your strength. They are the marks of battles fought and won, and they can become guideposts for others who are still fighting. People connect more with your brokenness than your perfection. They don't need someone who's never fallen. They need someone who's gotten back up. Your story of resilience can be the roadmap for someone else's survival. That's why you can't throw away your pain or wish away your past. What broke you may very well be the testimony that sets someone else free. You may not see it yet, but every tear you've cried has been watering the ground for something new to grow. Every loss you've suffered has been making room for greater gain. Every time you've been knocked down, you've learned how to get back up with more determination than before. So instead of cursing what broke you, consider thanking it. Without that season, you wouldn't be who you are today. Without that challenge, you wouldn't have the depth, the faith, or the grit you carry now. The breaking was not your ending. It was your beginning. And one day you'll stand on the other side, not just healed, but stronger, wiser, and ready to build something beautiful out of the very thing that once tried to destroy you. Your scars are not shame. They're proof that you survived what was meant to destroy you. So many people spend their lives trying to hide the marks of their battles, pretending as if they've never been wounded, as if everything has always been smooth and perfect. But the truth is, scars tell stories. They speak of pain endured, storms weathered, and enemies defeated. A scar means you were hurt, but you didn't stay hurt. You bled, but you healed. You were struck down, but you got back up. The world will often try to convince you that scars are something to be embarrassed about, something that makes you less valuable. But in reality, scars are symbols of strength. They are proof that you didn't just face the fight. You made it through. They mean that the worst moment didn't get the last word. Every scar you carry, whether it's visible on your skin or hidden deep in your soul, is evidence of your resilience. Think about the scars in your life. Physical, emotional, spiritual. Maybe you carry a scar from a surgery that saved your life. Maybe you carry the invisible scars of betrayal, heartbreak, or loss. Maybe you've got financial scars from a season of struggle or mental scars from battles in your mind. Each one of those marks is a chapter in your story, and together they form a testimony that cannot be faked. When Jesus rose from the dead, he could have chosen to return without any marks on his body. He could have erased the holes in his hands, the wound in his side, but instead he kept them. Why? Because his scars told the story of victory. They were proof of the price he paid and the power he carried. His scars silenced the doubt in Thomas's heart and became a witness to everyone who saw them. If the Savior of the world wasn't ashamed of his scars, why should you be? Hiding your scars may protect you from temporary judgment, but it also robs others of the hope your story carries. Somewhere out there is someone facing the exact battle you've already won. And when they see your scars, your honest, unfiltered truth, it tells them, if they made it, maybe I can too. That's why your scars have power. They are not just about what happened to you. They're about what God brought you through. The enemy wants you to stay silent about your pain because he knows your testimony can set others free. He knows that your healed places are a direct threat to his plans. That's why he wants you to keep your scars hidden, to keep pretending you've never been through anything. But strength isn't pretending you were never hurt. Strength is standing up and saying, yes, I've been through it, and I'm still here. Scars don't mean you're broken. They mean you're a survivor. They mean you didn't let the wound stay open forever. They mean you chose to heal even when healing was hard. They mean you fought battles most people will never understand, and you came out the other side with a story worth telling. So wear your scars boldly. Don't try to airbrush them out of your life. Let them be your testimony. Let them be the signpost that points to God's faithfulness. Let them be the proof that no weapon formed against you was able to prosper. Your scars are not the end of your story. They're the evidence that you lived through it, learned from it, and rose above it. And the more you embrace them, the more they'll inspire someone else to keep fighting until they can hold up their own. God uses setbacks as set-ups for something greater than you imagined. It's one of those truths that is easy to believe when life is going well, but much harder to hold on to when everything seems to be falling apart. When doors close, when opportunities disappear, when people walk away, and when prayers seem unanswered, it's natural to feel like being pushed backward. But what if the backward step wasn't a failure? What if it was God pulling you back like an arrow, getting ready to launch you further than you've ever been before? Setbacks have a way of feeling final. They convince you that you're behind, that you've missed your chance, that the timing is off, and the dream is gone. But in God's plan, nothing is wasted. Not even the seasons where it feels like you've lost ground. Sometimes he allows the delay because he's preparing something in you before he releases you into what's next. Other times, he's protecting you from something you can't yet see. And often, the very thing you're calling a setback is the thing he's going to use as the stepping stone for your breakthrough. Think about some of the greatest stories in history, both in scripture and in life. Time and again, the people we now call heroes went through a period of waiting, loss, or apparent failure before stepping into their purpose. Joseph was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold as a slave, and unjustly imprisoned. Each of those moments look a setback, but every single one positioned him closer to becoming the leader God destined him to be. What others meant for evil, God used for good. Your life might feel like it's moving in the wrong direction right now, but direction is not determined by appearance. It's determined by God's hand. A seed in the ground looks buried, but it's actually being planted. The process is hidden, but the purpose is alive. And the longer the seed stays hidden, the stronger the roots can grow. The same is true for you. The seasons where nothing seems to be happening are often the seasons where God is building your foundation for what's coming next. A setback can also be God's way of realigning your path. Sometimes we get attached to opportunities, relationships, or plans that aren't meant to carry us into the next chapter. When God removes them, it can feel like loss, but in reality, it's divine redirection. He knows what's ahead, and he refuses to let you settle for something less than what he has planned. That closed door you're mourning might be the very thing that saves you from years of struggle or regret. It's also important to remember that God's set-ups often don't look glamorous in the beginning. They might look like starting over, like taking a smaller role, like moving to a place you didn't choose, or like serving in the background while others take the spotlight. But behind the scenes, God is weaving a story that is bigger than your current view. One day, you'll look back and see that the job you lost pushed you into your real calling. The relationship that ended made room for the one that would bless your future. The rejection you faced led you to the opportunity that changed your life. The closed doors weren't a curse. They were protection, positioning, and preparation. So don't give up in the middle of your setback. Don't assume it's over because it doesn't look like you imagined. Trust that God is still writing, still arranging, still working all things together for your good. What you see as a step backward may just be the wind up for the greatest leap forward of your life. You're not just called to come through, you're called to come back and help others through. Survival is powerful, but survival alone is not the end goal. Yes, making it through the storm matters. But what gives that survival true meaning is what you do with it afterward. The purpose of your breakthrough isn't just to benefit you, it's to create a path for others who are still in the struggle. You were never meant to climb out of the pit, wipe your hands clean, and walk away without looking back. You were meant to return with the keys that unlock the prison for someone else. When you've walked through something hard, when you've fought battles that took everything out of you, there's a temptation to just rest and move on, to put that chapter behind you and never revisit it. But your experience is a treasure, even if it came with pain. The wisdom you've gained, the lessons you've learned, the scars you carry, those are tools God intends for you to use to bless someone else. Your testimony is a lifeline for someone who is drowning in the very waters you survived. Coming back for others is not always convenient. It may require revisiting places that hurt you. It may mean speaking about things you'd rather forget. It might force you to be vulnerable in ways that feel uncomfortable. But when you choose to return for someone else's sake, you're turning your pain into purpose. You're transforming your personal victory into a communal one. And there is nothing more Christ-like than that. Because that's exactly what he did. Jesus didn't just rise from the dead and leave. He came back. He appeared to his disciples, reassured them, restored their hope, and reminded them of their mission. He went back to the ones who were hiding in fear, the ones who felt lost and abandoned, and he strengthened them. He knew his victory wasn't just for him. It was for the people he loved. In the same way, your story isn't just yours. God didn't bring you out so you could keep your testimony to yourself. He brought you out so you could be living proof to someone else that it's possible. Think about it. There is someone right now praying for the breakthrough you've already received. There's someone stuck in the same addiction you overcame. Someone is lying awake in the same fear you used to wrestle with. Someone is wondering if they'll ever heal from the heartbreak you've already survived. Your decision to go back for them could be the answer to their prayer. It's not about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about being present, showing up with your scars, your lessons, and your faith intact. Sometimes helping someone through doesn't require grand gestures. It can be as simple as telling your story, lending an ear, offering encouragement, or showing them what life can look like on the other side of their pain. When you return for others, you become a bridge. You stand in the gap between where they are and where they could be. You help them cross over into hope, healing, and possibility. And in doing so, you strengthen your own faith because you're reminded of just how far you've come. So don't just come through, come back. Go find the ones who feel like they'll never make it out. Show them the light you found. Walk with them until they can walk on their own. And when they reach their own victory, encourage them to return for someone else. Because when survivors become rescuers, hope becomes unstoppable, and the chain of redemption keeps growing longer and stronger. Your story is a rescue mission for someone who's still stuck where you used to be. Every experience you've had, every heartbreak, every failure, every moment of doubt, every battle you fought has equipped you with something someone else desperately needs. The journey you've walked isn't just about you making it to the other side. It's about you becoming a lifeline for someone still in the middle of the storm. Your survival wasn't just for your benefit. It was so you could go back and pull someone else out. When you think about the hardest seasons of your life, it's easy to see them only in terms of the pain they caused you. But what if those seasons were also assignments? What if your darkest valley wasn't just a test of endurance, but a preparation for ministry? Not necessarily the kind with a pulpit, but the kind that happens in living rooms, coffee shops, hospital rooms, and quiet conversations when someone says, "I don't think I can make it." And you can look them in the eyes and say, "I've been there," and you can. Rescue missions are never clean or easy. They require you to step into places you once escaped. They might bring back memories you thought you'd buried. They might require patience when you'd rather rush in and fix things. But the power of your story isn't just in its happy ending. It's in the messy middle, the part that connects to someone else's present struggle. When people know you've been where they are, your words carry weight that no textbook or theory could ever match. Think about someone drowning in a river. The person on the shore who's never been in deep water might care deeply, but they don't know how to navigate the current. But the one who's been pulled under before, who knows the panic, the struggle for air, and the way the water moves, that person can jump in and lead them out. That's what your story allows you to do. You've navigated the waters they're fighting against. You know the dangers, but you also know the way to safety. The enemy would rather you stay silent. He wants you to keep your past to yourself, to believe that no one cares, or that it's better forgotten. But your silence can leave someone else stranded in the same pit you once escaped. Your openness, however, can throw them a rope. Your honesty can shine a light on the path they couldn't see before. Sometimes the rescue mission is as simple as being willing to sit with someone in their pain, not rushing them, not preaching at them, but walking alongside them until they can take their next step. Other times, it's sharing the practical lessons you learned, how you prayed when you didn't feel like praying, how you forgave when bitterness felt safer, how you took one small step forward when moving felt impossible. There's someone out there who thinks no one understands what they're going through. Your story tells them they're wrong. It tells them they're not alone, that they're not the only one who's been where they are, and that there's a way out. And here's the thing, when you step into your role as a rescuer, you not only help them, you reinforce your own healing. You remember what God has done for you. You see your pain transformed into purpose right before your eyes. Your story is a rescue mission, and there's someone waiting for you to show up. Don't underestimate the power of what you've been through. Don't hold back the truth that could set someone else free. The same God who brought you out is ready to use you to bring someone else through. And when that happens, your victory becomes their victory, and the rescue mission keeps going. The enemy doesn't fear your wounds, he fears your comeback. Ones are temporary. They can slow you down, make you bleed, and cause you pain, but they do not have the final say. What terrifies the enemy is when you take those wounds, allow them to heal, and rise again with more determination than before. It's when you decide that the injury won't define you, that the setback won't stop you, and that the loss won't be the end of your story. That's when you become dangerous. See, wounds are part of life. Everyone gets hurt. The enemy knows that pain is inevitable, but his real plan is to keep you down. He doesn't just want you to get wounded. He wants you to stay wounded. He wants you to believe that because you've been hurt, you can't be whole again. He hopes you'll give up before you heal. But when you refuse to stay down, when you decide to rise and return, you prove him wrong in the most powerful way possible. A comeback is more than just getting back to where you were. A comeback is rising to a place you've never been before. It's using the lessons from your wounds to move with greater wisdom, greater strength, and greater faith. A wound might have knocked you off your feet, but the comeback puts you in a position you couldn't have reached without going through the fight. That's why the enemy fears it, because he knows your comeback will make you stronger than before you ever got hurt. Think about it. A soldier who's been in battle and survived comes back more seasoned, more prepared, and more aware of the enemy's tactics. They've learned how to fight, how to endure, and how to win. That's what happens to you when you decide to heal and rise again. You're not Nadavi anymore. You're not easily shaken. You've seen the enemy's plan and you've survived it. The enemy doesn't mind if you stay in a place of self-pity, nursing your wounds and replaying your losses. But the moment you get up, dust yourself off, and start moving again, that's when he panics. Because your movement is proof that the wound didn't win. Your persistence becomes a testimony that inspires others to rise too. And if enough wounded people start coming back, the enemy's hold begins to crumble. Your comeback is also a threat because it robs the enemy of the satisfaction he thought he had. Every time you smile after heartbreak, every time you take another step after failure, every time you worship after loss, you remind him that he didn't win. You remind him that your story is still being written and he's not the author. But here's the truth. Comebacks don't happen by accident. They require a decision. They require choosing to get up when it would be easier to stay down. They require letting go of bitterness, forgiving those who hurt you, and trusting God with the rest. And sometimes they require starting over, even when it's scary and uncertain. But every step you take toward your comeback is a step toward reclaiming what was stolen from you. So don't let your wounds make you think you're finished. Let them become the fuel for your return. The comeback isn't just about proving the enemy wrong. It's about stepping fully into the life God still has for you. It's about showing others that healing is possible, that restoration is real, and that no matter how bad it's been, there's always a way forward. The enemy feared the day you'd stop bleeding, but he'll dread the day you rise again with your faith intact, your purpose renewed, and your heart set on finishing the race. That day, your comeback becomes not just your victory, it becomes a declaration of war against everything that tried to take you out.